Shojo Null was horrible, and that's why it was cancelled. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This dystopian future society where robo-dolls live alongside humans was never good. From its opening chapters to its final bittersweet installment, Shojo Null was a letdown. I've been covering this manga since last year, and there was never a point in time where I felt that it had improved. Things just got zanier and wilder until even the most diehard fans felt that this work was way too over the top. Riaa and Marie's relationship was probably the only redeeming quality of the manga. I liked it so much. I think those two had a lot of potential. They were a dynamic pair that weren't governed by their emotions towards one another. And that's pretty rare in shonen that has female and male leads. However, I feel the mangaka duo never capitalized on that. Throughout the 30-odd chapters, the pacing was so off, the stakes made no sense, the motivations of characters shifted what felt like basically every chapter. And even though the promise that was given to us readers in the beginning, that Marie was destined to kill all humans, sorta came true at the end, everything in between made it so convoluted and uninteresting. I think the writing was on the wall from pretty early. After Marie and Riaa end up going down to limbo, the story took a very different direction. The tonality felt quite different. More mature, yes, not as over the top, but you could definitely tell that it was going to have to come to an abrupt end. Another high point of this manga, something that I actually really enjoyed, was the relationship between the doctor slash president of Japan and Mira, his assistant slash wife. The scene where Mira pretends to be She-Hulk so her husband can survive was incredibly sad. I believe this part of the manga was written so well because the duo excels at drawing adults and writing drama-filled, science-oriented plot lines. When they aren't worried about battle shonen, when they aren't worried about trying to be super edgelord cringe, they're able to weave strong emotions through the pages of this manga. The mature stance was definitely something that Shojo Null should have had since the beginning. This is a mature series and it should have been very serious in tone. You can tell that it tried to balance between being something that younger kids could like, teens would enjoy, and also something that adults like me would really resonate with. But most of the time, everything felt so, hello, fellow kids, to the point where I couldn't take anything seriously. And even when the aforementioned serious points came up, it was too little, too late. Riaa was an okay character. I wasn't super into him because of how nonchalant he was, and to be honest, I don't really give a fuck about his backstory. It was inserted so haphazardly towards the end of the manga that not only did it feel weird, but it felt like a waste of time. The reader's mind was already made up about Riaa. You mentioning that he works at a warehouse sorting factory and a Chinese restaurant so he can afford repairs for his home, like, that doesn't mean anything to me, because I also know that's bullshit, man. As if the public wouldn't know who Riaa actually is, like they wouldn't know his actual identity. Come the fuck on. The fact that Riaa isn't even featured in the last few chapters of Shojo Null, it's like the duo knew that he wasn't a great character, or maybe reception from the audience wasn't super strong with him, so they wrote him out a bit quicker. Those flashbacks of his could have been used for his battle against Cop Daddy, or whatever the fuck the dude's name is, Kamiki, I think. Riaa could have had a better conclusion to his story arc. Marie, on the other hand, I really liked Marie. I have no complaints about Marie at all. I think she was the best character in Shojo Null and the best thing about Shojo Null. She was on my top 5 of best girls last year, and she probably will be again this year, to be honest. There's something about her as a character. I like that she's not sexualized, but I also like that she has a really great appeal. Her design was absolutely perfect. I think the aesthetic of the artist and the writing style of the author, it blends well for her character. Man, I could have gone with another 4 volumes of Marie just exploring limbo and seeing the world for what it is, learning that there are other humans like Riaa who can see her side but also don't believe in genocide. I really wish we got more of Marie. While Riaa was out, I really think the manga would have benefited from having Marie just chew for a couple scenes and engage with others in limbo and learn more about the Gijins. It would have been so much better to see her just explore. On the flip side, Sheol was a dumb fucking plot point. I don't think that was ever intended to be a part of the overall plot, to be honest. It reads very separate from the motives and ideals of the characters. The fact that Marie already has a split personality was something that they could have leaned more into, but instead they bring out Sheol, and I don't like that. It just doesn't make sense. It now adds a fantasy element to a manga that was supposed to be focused on science fiction. And yeah, everything feels kind of organic. The Gijins are an organic substance. They are an organic life form. So yeah, I guess it works, but to me, it didn't read well. Sheol has the same personality as Marie anyway, so it's like you just had another character that wasn't contributing to Marie, but was just hanging around for no reason other than the fact that the mangakas didn't know what to do or how to wrap up their story quickly. The combat never improved. It straight up fucking sucks. The artist doesn't seem very engaged whenever illustrating any combat. I'm not sure what's going on there. But aside from the weird body proportions, I just was never engaged by any of the combat. I thought the art for the color pages was absolutely sensational though. Holy hell. The double spreads too? I am such a simp for when artists can really let loose and show off what they're made of. Akima is a talented artist. I really just wish they locked in throughout the entire run. They were not locked in when Cop Daddy was fighting Riaa, and I think that could have been something that they really could have shown off their skill set with. Alas, it was not meant to be. Kane Nakanishi, they're a good writer. I just don't think this was the right story for them, or maybe this isn't the best format. It's weird, right? Because like I can recognize what they were trying to do with their writing, and I could recognize that there were some good plot points in Shojo Null, but they just didn't work. I feel like Akima and Nakanishi, maybe they aren't the right pairing for one another. I can tell a lot of passion went into this series. I'm not going to say that it was absolute dog shit, but it really wasn't good. That's all it was. When you know someone can play better than they actually can, and they end up shooting 4 for 12 from the field with as many turnovers as assists, you wonder what the fuck was going on. There was absolutely no synergy on Shojo Null, and there was never a time when I really felt that these two were comfortable with one another. I don't know if they're friends IRL, or even if they know each other or they ran in the same circles, but this series read like the two did not know how to bring out the best in one another, and you can't ever have a successful manga duel if the team isn't tapped in with each other. The crazy thing is, I like the ending of Shojo Null. I really liked it a lot. I liked Marie going full genocidal. I liked parts of how Ria's story wrapped up. I just didn't like the overall series. I want to make a point though that I don't enjoy writing about how bad certain manga are. I'd much rather spend my time doing anything else. I'd rather chat up a brat summer chick on Hinge than talk about how dog shit some of these manga are. But this is what I do. I am a critic. I review manga through a lens of someone who has read hundreds of them throughout my life, alongside articles, books, papers, and forum threads. I feel confident in my opinions about manga and anime, but that doesn't make me an expert. It just makes me aware, and this gained awareness gives me the ability to call out bad media like Shojo Null. Look, you can like Shojo Null for whatever reasons that you have, that's fine, but facts are verifiable. This was never a good series. It never sold well. The plot was always inconsistent. The visuals weren't as good as the artist could have produced. This series was never good on any level. Also, a big fuck you to the TikTokers and AniTubers who claim this shit was good. You know who you are. Your opinions suck, and I would take anything you say about media with a grain of salt from here on out. Let Shojo Null exist as an example of what not to do in a modern battle shonen manga. Don't waste your time. You can read it if you want, but to be honest, it's not that great. 2 out of 10.